Good morning, everyone. This is Erica with Aurora Heart Healing, and today I am here to do a collective healing on the wound of avoidance. The wound of avoidance is basically we are avoiding our feelings, avoiding progression, avoiding tough conversations, avoidance in general. And this is a really tough wound because this affects our relationships, our friendships, our families. It can affect a wide range of things in our life. And it's not to say that if we have a toxic family that we have to stick it out all the time. If there's a toxicity that harms you more than helps you, or that you don't really learn from, then absolutely remove yourself. But if this is a relationship where it's just a little bit challenging, but they challenge you to grow, they challenge you to be better in a way, they challenge you to maybe even love yourself a little bit deeper, a little bit more, then this is something that we don't want to avoid because being uncomfortable is where growth happens. It's like building muscle. So you go to the gym, if you like to go to the gym, if you like to go running, whatever the case may be. The other day I went and I was running and I'm building up my muscle to run. And I went and I was running and I have goals that I'm setting. The first time that I was running, I wanted to run for a minute straight. I've been out of shape for a little bit, so that takes a little bit of time to build up to. So I went for a minute, and then I went for a minute and a half, and then I went for 2 minutes. This last goal that I was setting was to go for 3.5 minutes. And I cramped up so bad while I was working out. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I didn't want to be embarrassed, so I didn't tell anyone that, ow, this hurts. And I went and just kind of pushed myself a little bit further, even though I was in pain. I didn't run, but I went and I worked out in other aspects. But I gave myself a little bit of rest. I recognized that maybe pushing myself so quickly, so fast was something that I needed to hold off on. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to take this in increments again. So I'm just going to stay at the 3 minute mark for now. And that's okay. But what if I just said I'm going to stay at the 3 minute mark forever? That would be not pushing myself out of my comfort zone. The Epsom salt bath and the menthol oils that I put on my leg, it helped. And I was able to run again yesterday and the day before, and I was okay. So take that as a lesson of, from my experience, as we continue to grow, we are going to face discomfort. It's just a part of life. It's a part of the process of becoming older, wiser, and more enlightened and deeper. It creates deeper connections within ourselves as well. Without further ado, we are going to do a collective healing on avoidance. And this avoidance is the avoidance of discomfort. All right. The first things that I was finding was the will to energies from Dr. Bradley Nelson's body code, odd row 1 or 2 4 6. And I just want to let you know, so while I am finding the energies, I'm using a pendulum to help guide the energy through the pendulum to tell me what exactly it is that we need to know here today. And one of the things that I have wanted to express is this energy work is open to anyone that wants to grow and progress and that wants to build within themselves. This is a recognition and an awareness of the energies that we are collectively feeling so that we can understand it and then release it. Also, one of the most powerful ways that I have noticed is when you call upon your higher self, your higher guidance. I pray before every one of these healing sessions. I pray to God and I say, please help me find what it is that I can help the most people through, the energies, the emotions, whatever the case may be, which in this, it is a will to. So it is what is propelling us. And what is propelling us is a will to decline, declining in health, declining in emotional stability, the will to decline. And I will put these in the comments below. But just to let you know, um, when you pray before you do an energy work, maybe even before you watch any of my videos, just know that you will actually be able to unlock a different part of this energy, these energies, because you are connecting and tapping into a higher power than yourself. And that's so important. Um, and if you do not believe in God, I welcome you anyway. I don't care if you're Buddhist, if you are whatever you are. Just know that if you believe in light and love and compassion and the betterment of humanity, you're welcome here. All right, so the will to decline, the first emotion that I'm feeling is confusion, disorder, upheaval, chaos, lack of distinctness, clearness, bewilderment, disturbed mental health or disorientation. I can see that in our collective at this time. Okay, is there any other emotions? There are. Is it on this page? This page, this page, this page. Fluster, foggy thinking, fret. Frustration is the next emotion. And frustration can actually come from various topics. So is it delays? Is it lack? Is it losses? Is it failure? Failure frustration. So any failure is frustrating and may threaten our feelings of worth. So I'm really getting a frustration of feeling our worth, which can very much so be very hurtful, and we can avoid certain difficult situations because it calls in it challenges our own worth and what we believe for ourselves. And little do we know that the more that we challenge these frustrations, the more that we are able to grow in our sense of worth because we know that we can do it. We've empowered ourselves to be able to continue through the frustration and say, I'm still going to build this muscle. I'm going to keep trying to run till I can run a mile and just go the whole entire mile and not have to stop, not feel winded, because that's my goal. And was there a frustration that I was cramping up and that my leg was messed up for 2 days? Yes, 100% frustration because it called on to my worth. Will I ever be able to do this? Is my body going to be able to do this? With patience, love, and grace, yes. So frustration is the next one. Is there more emotions? Yes. Here, here, here. Instability, internalization, jealous, jubilation, lack of control, loneliness, longing, love unreceived. The emotion of love unreceived is also causing this avoidance within our collective. So love unreceived, feeling unwanted, avoidance. If we don't feel wanted, then we are going to avoid things, challenges, all of the different types of experiences in our life. Feeling unwanted, not cared for, not accepted. Not feeling loved can lead to insecurities, anxieties, and a lack of confidence. A healthy person has both self-love, not selfishness, and love for others. I think that's a really important point right there that it says a healthy person has both self-love, love for oneself, which is different than selfishness, because selfishness, we won't get into that, but maybe that'll be my next video. And love for others. A person can feel lack of love from self and not know it, as well as from others. Also, a feeling that love expressed is rejected. So we know that feeling our love is unreceived, it can cause insecurities, and those insecurities can lead us to be selfish, which is basically hurtful to others. And avoiding difficult decisions, difficult conversations, ultimately is selfish. It is selfish in the fact that, I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman that I'm listening to very often on TikTok, and he talks about how it is actually more selfish to keep things in and not tell your partner how they're hurting you, or the people that you are in relationship with, how they are hurting you, because you are creating cracks and rifts in the relationship continuously when you do that. And feeling like your love isn't being received, well, if you're not expressing, it's actually selfish. And that avoidance of, hey, I know this is a difficult conversation, but I want to know where we're going. Can we sit down and be honest? And if there's constant resistance from the other person, then they're avoiding. And you are stepping up and you are leveling up and you are in a higher vibration because you are trying. And that's something to question the relationship and the person in as well. Don't be afraid to walk away, my friends. It is very green sometimes on the other side. I know that it can be very difficult, but, and that's not avoidance, by the way. That is self-worth, which helps you feel like your love is being received within yourself. Self-abuse, which is funny because we just went into love unreceived and now we're looking at self-abuse. The self is the object of the abuse. This can come in many ways. Mistreating your body by use of addictive substances. This can be lack of sleep, sexual, excessive masturbation is what it says here. Sorry if that's uncomfortable, but for some, poor diet or nutrition, working beyond what one should endure, pushing or taxing oneself excessively. This also plays into avoidance because how many people go and drink all weekend or party all weekend because they don't want to face what they're feeling. Abuse usually has an element of anger towards oneself or another person or incident. The individual directs the anger into oneself, which often indicates feelings of guilt, shame, dishonor, or poor self-image. The self-abuse may atone for his sins, real or imagined. Illnesses can be forms of self-punishment. I don't deserve to be healed. Self-abuse. Is there anything else that we need to know about self-abuse? Is there any other emotions that we need to look at? Is there anything else I need to look at? Okay, so for now, the will to decline. How are we declining in our health, in our mental state of being, in who we are when we're confused about who we are, when we're frustrated about what our mentality, maybe whatever applies to you, think of these emotions for you. Love unreceived. If we feel that people aren't loving us in the way that we deserve or the way that we need, or maybe we're being selfish, and that selfishness causes us to create rifts in our relationships because we're trying to avoid instead of confronting and being vulnerable. And self-abuse. I know that one of the biggest reasons why I don't go out to bars, clubs, casinos, those types of places is because of my sensitivity. When I used to go out, I would be the designated driver. And this is really hard to discuss because it's just so sad when I look at it, but I would actually meet people and I would be dancing and I was sober most of the time. I did smoke then, but it was a different type of energy that I was bringing to the table with that. And people looked empty inside. When I would look in someone's eyes and they were drunk or inebriated, they looked empty, and I felt their loneliness. I felt their desperation to connect to themselves and others, and I felt that they didn't know how to. Ooh, there's a deep ringing in my ear right now. And it was really sad to see that. It really hurt for me to be around it because at that point I did feel myself a certain degree of emptiness and disconnection and a little bit of loneliness as well. And when I see it, it's different. The intention behind these activities. Are we intending to go and get effed up and have fun and just forget about life for a little bit? Or are we intending to go and just dance and have a good time? I know that for me, when I would go out, and I still love to dance, I wish that there was more sober party dances out there. But when I went to go out to dance, my main purpose was to go and have fun and dance and enjoy myself. And in that, it's a different intention than I want something to fill this void that I'm feeling inside. Is there anything else we need to know? Any other messages? Can we go ahead and clear this energy? Okay. Magnets. Mm. Sorry, that one felt disorienting. It actually gave me a slight little bit of a headache. Sometimes the energies through collectives are very powerful. I wouldn't say overwhelming, but I would say very powerful. And whoever is watching this, whoever has a chance to see this, will either connect with the emotions and really understand and integrate within themselves what it is that we're talking about, or they may not. And whatever one is your journey, and I respect it. Is there anything else that we need to know? Is there anything else that we can clear today from the collective healing on avoidance? Okay, so there's a little bit more that we can clear. Is it in the despair anchors? Is it in the will to? No will to. Okay, is it in A? Odd row, 1, 3, align, receive support. No will to receive support. No will to receive support. I mean, when we avoid others, we avoid the the ability to receive support from others, from community, from people that genuinely care. The other day when I was at the gym, I was talking to a woman and I was telling her that I'm not ever going to lose hope in love. That's just not who I am. And she's been single for over 18 years. And she was like, I don't ever want to open that door again in my life. And I said, well, it sounds like you have heart walls and it's just easier to avoid a relationship than it is to um, be vulnerable and open up to someone else. And she said, absolutely. And I said, oh, okay. Everyone we have free will here. But I do know that two is more powerful than one. And when we receive support from divine feminine or divine masculine, we're able to build connection. And I love the ability to be able to call someone and say, hey, I'm going through a rough time. Can you talk to me, listen to me, help me? Yesterday, I wasn't feeling that great. My stomach was hurting, and I called my sister, and she picked up my daughters for me. That's receiving support from outside of myself. And we are human beings that thrive on community. I'm going to look for the emotions that does not allow us to want to receive support. The first emotion is bitterness. Bitterness, a feeling that is hard to bear or is grievous, a bitter sorrow, a feeling causing pain, something experienced at a great cost, a bitter lesson, a feeling of resentment, being cynical, harsh, disagreeable, or an acrid taste. So, with that, what is bitterness creating within ourselves? It is, I don't want to receive support. And maybe and not receiving support is actually causing more bitterness within ourselves as well, because then we think no one's here for me, so I just have to do it by myself. And I'm looking for more emotions. Is it here? Fret. The emotion is fret. A tendency to worry, feel irritable, disturbed, or discontented, suffering emotional wear and tear, feeling troubled, a wasting away with worry that is non-productive and usually does not lead to a solution. A fuss over something or someone or something, impatient, irritable, passive opposition. When I said, oh, well, no one's there to help me, isn't that passive opposition? Because we haven't expressed that we want support or that we need support or that we need someone else, but yet we're angry with other people for not being there. So we're causing ourselves undue fret. Very interesting. And take it for how it resonates because every person, every one of you that is watching this today, you feel some type of emotion towards this. And it would be a good idea to tap into yourself and see what additional emotions that I did not cover in this session come up for you. Inferiority. So no will to support, people feel inferior. The belief or feeling that one is lower in station, rank, degree, or grade, usually in comparison to someone else. I've had plenty of times in my life where I did not ask for help because people would think, or I had the perception that people would think I was less than. A lack of self-esteem or confidence. Feelings of inferiority can cause problems in interpersonal relationships as one may be oversensitive to comments, make exaggerated effort to prove one's own adequacy and worth by boasting, showing off, or being hypercritical of other people. When I think of inferiority in my life, I think of people that have a very deep spirit of competition. They think, well, I have to show off that I'm better. Um, a while back, I had encountered a Reiki practitioner, and I mean, I've been practicing for 8 years, so I'm a little bit, I guess, newer to the scene of energy work, but I don't think that that made me be discounted in my work. And this practitioner said, well, what you do is new. And I said, Duh, yeah, I understand that. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit newer than other modalities that we know of. And it was a very strange dynamic because I triggered inferiority in them. And me being who I am, I always tried to like, hey, I'm not better than you. And we can work together. This is mutual. This is an amazing dynamic that we can create because you can move the energy and I can clear and transmute it into new energy that can then be integrated within the body. And the competition, the feelings were still there. And I am very attuned to that because I like to bring people in and try to empower them so that they don't feel powerless, so that they feel a sense of hope and progression. But if someone does not have that desire within themselves, then I'm just kind of wasting my time and my energy. And unfortunately, I had to step away from that relationship because it was very toxic for me, trying to share my abilities and trying to prove to myself even my own inferiority. This person had like 30 plus years of experience. I felt inferior in the sense of longevity. They felt inferior in the sense that they said, oh, wow, you go deep quick. And I said, yeah, this is powerful stuff. We're able to really get to the roots of things and be able to release those roots. And that inferiority caused a big rift in the relationship, which it says here can cause problems in interpersonal relationships. Maybe one is oversensitive to comments, and putting in an exaggerated effort to one's own adequacy. The next emotion again is self-abuse. I'm really hearing that this self-abuse is more verbal. So it would be the more mental self-abuse. Um, I'm so stupid. Why can't I do this alone? I should be able to do this. There's no reason why I can't do this. Um, any thoughts like that or similar to that is self-abuse because you are punching yourself. When there was a while back when my son and I were going to the gym and he would say, I hate myself. I was like, oh God, no. And when he would do pull-ups, push-ups, whatever it was, he was on a machine and he would have a really hard time lifting the weights. And I told him, what are you saying to yourself when you're doing this? And he said, I hate my body. And that was even harder for me to hear because of what I know and who I am and what I listen to in the world. So I stopped him and I said, you have to wait. And he was like, oh, he's very impatient. So I said, listen, if you want me to keep bringing you, you have to stop and you have to listen to me. So he stops and he listens and he says, what is it? And I said, okay, instead of saying I hate myself or I hate my body each time that you push these weights up, I want you to say, I love my body. My body can do this. I'm excited about how my body is growing. I'm excited about this. And in that, we're changing our mind, we're changing our thought process to this isn't hopeless. We can do something about this. So I had him start again. And I said, each time you push up, I love my body. I love this. I can do this. I'm powerful. I am strong. And it became easier for him. And now he's added a little bit more weight to his regimen. And now he comes up and he's like, hey, mom, look at my muscles. And if we abuse ourselves, we're only weakening ourselves and it becomes a vicious cycle. The last emotion is feeling worthless. Okay. Of no importance or value, without excellence of character, quality, or esteem, serving no purpose. To feel worth as a person is a basic psychological need. We need to feel that we are important. If one lacks sense of personal worth, one becomes negative, critical, discouraged, apathetic, and sees little meaning or challenge in life. Feeling worthless. What if we have a project that we need help with and we don't have anyone to help us because we have burned all of our bridges and we don't receive that support? And then we think, wow, I can't do this. I'm not able to do this. And then we call in our worth. And then we abuse ourselves. And then we feel inferior because we don't have a support system. And then we needlessly fret over that. And then we're bitter. Let's start to remember that we were built in community. That when Adam came to this earth, God said, you need a partner and you need to make more people with you. And I'm not being a Bible stomper on this. You can believe what you want to, but one person was lonely. Two people had a community. They had someone to fall back to talk to build and grow with. And that was receiving support. And if you go to another country, you will see that people outside of the US and maybe even parts of the US constantly receive support. And it is important, it is valuable, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful to be in a community that receives support from one another. So today, I challenge you to receive some support and have a will to prosper, a will to have hope, to keep moving forward, to say, this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to build my muscle today. I've got this. I know my value. I know my worth, even if you don't right now. As you continue to build your muscle, as you continue to receive support from a therapist, a church, a community activity, you will build within your worth because you are worthy. I believe in you. I love you. You are important and valuable, and no one else in this world has the eyes that you see through and the knowledge that you can share. Have a wonderful day.